I never thought my quiet little street would turn into a battleground until the morning my neighbor demanded I hand over my classic car to her teenage son. Yeah, you heard that right. She stood in my driveway pointing at my 1968 Firebird like it was her birthright, shouting, "My son deserves that car more than you do." And when I refused, she called the cops. Over my car. Now, before I get into the chaos that followed, let me back up a little. My name's Mark Benson. I'm 42. I live in a small HOA-controlled community called Maple Grove. You know, one of those neighborhoods that looks peaceful on the outside, trimmed lawns, polite smiles, but has its own brand of tyranny hiding behind community standards. Our self-appointed queen of rules was a woman named Nancy Whitmore, the kind of person who carries a clipboard like it's a weapon, the kind of woman who believes every HOA guideline is scripture and she's the high priestess. My Firebird isn't just a car, it's my heart on four wheels. I rebuilt it from scratch over 20 years, bolt by bolt, most of it with my dad before he passed. That thing gleams red under the sun like it's alive, and to me it is. So that Saturday morning when I was polishing the hood and heard her heels clacking toward me, I didn't think much, until she opened her mouth. "Mark," she said with that fake sweet tone people use right before they say something insane, "you should do something generous for the neighborhood. My son's turning 16. That Firebird would be perfect for him. It deserves to be driven by someone young and full of life." I laughed. I honestly thought she was joking, but her expression didn't move an inch. She was dead serious. "Nancy, that car's mine. I've rebuilt it for 20 years, I told her. She crossed her arms chin high. The HOA has rules about vehicles that enhance or detract from community property. If you can't be reasonable, I'll have to involve them. And then she pulled out her phone and dialed 911. "Officer," she said, "there's a dispute about a community vehicle." A community vehicle. My jaw literally dropped. By the time the sirens echoed down the street, neighbors were already peeking from their porches like it was some suburban soap opera. The cop stepped out, professional calm. Nancy went straight into performance mode, voice trembling, arms waving. "He's refusing to cooperate with HOA policy. That car belongs to the community." The officers looked at me waiting. I kept my voice steady. "This car is privately owned, fully registered under my name. I've even spoken with the district attorney about it during a prior property rights case. It's protected by state law." You could see it in their eyes, the flicker of realization that they were dealing with nonsense. They politely told her this was a civil matter, not a police one, and left. I figured that would be the end of it. But Nancy wasn't the kind of person who loses quietly. 2 days later, I saw her again. Early morning. Clipboard in hand, sunglasses on, stomping up my driveway like she was on a mission from God. She started writing notes, muttering things like "vehicle obstructing view of street, non-compliant exterior color, potential safety hazard." When I asked what she was doing, she looked up and said, "You'll hear from the HOA board soon. The community doesn't appreciate selfishness." That day I felt my stomach twist. I'd always played by the rules, paid dues on time, kept my yard immaculate, but now somehow I was the villain. Then came the letter, an emergency HOA meeting. Topic: misuse of community assets. She had actually framed my car as a shared property issue. It was so absurd I almost laughed, until the rumors started. A few neighbors began whispering that I was hiding something in that Firebird. One even asked if it was stolen. I could feel the tension whenever I stepped outside. Suddenly, the same people who used to wave at me now crossed the street instead. I didn't sleep much that week. I kept replaying the incident in my head. Was I making too big a deal out of it? Was I being stubborn? Maybe selling the car would make life easier. The thought stung more than I care to admit. I remember standing in the garage one night, the smell of motor oil in the air, the dim light glinting off the hood. My dad's old wrench still sat on the workbench. I picked it up and just held it. That's when I heard his voice in my head. "Don't let anyone take what you built." And that's when I decided enough. I called the district attorney's office, the same one that had handled my title case months earlier. I explained everything. Within hours, I had an email confirming that my ownership was fully protected and that any attempt by the HOA or its members to seize or interfere would be considered harassment under state law. So I printed that email, highlighted every word, and waited. Sure enough, that afternoon Nancy returned. This time she brought her teenage son, a lanky kid with headphones and zero clue what was about to unfold. She marched right up to me, pointed at the Firebird, and said, "That belongs with my boy. Be reasonable, Mark. Don't make this harder than it needs to be." I couldn't help but laugh. "Nancy," I said, "demanding someone else's car is not community service, it's harassment. And it's illegal." She blinked, shocked that I didn't cave. "You think you can threaten me with your fake paperwork? The HOA will handle this." "Actually," I said, pulling out the letter from the district attorney, "they already did." Her face went pale. For a moment she looked uncertain, but only for a moment. She turned to her son, waving the clipboard like a flag. "We're not done here," she barked. "He'll see what happens when you defy the HOA." I stood there as they left, my hands shaking, not from fear, but from pure frustration. How do you even reason with that kind of entitlement? Over the next few days, she escalated her campaign. Flyers in mailboxes about unregistered vehicles. HOA reminders mysteriously slipped under my door. People started taking sides. It was ridiculous. But I kept documenting everything. Every letter, every voicemail, every call. The DA's office told me to hold tight. They were monitoring her behavior. By midweek, Nancy struck again harder. I had just parked the Firebird after a drive when she appeared clutching a stack of papers like a weapon. She slammed them down on the hood. "You've ignored every warning," she hissed. "This is your final chance before legal action." I leaned against the car, calm as I could manage. "Nancy, this isn't a warning. It's nonsense. I've already shown you the law. You need to stop." She glared, trembling with rage. "You think you're untouchable because of your little lawyer friend? I'll call the police again." I could see her son standing behind her, embarrassed eyes darting between us. For a split second he looked like he wished he could disappear. "Go ahead," I said, pulling out the folder I'd been keeping. "Every call you've made, every claim, every false report, it's all logged. The authorities are aware. Keep going and you'll find yourself in real trouble." Her lips parted, searching for words that wouldn't come. You could almost see her confidence cracking. The Firebird glimmered between us, a mirror reflecting just how absurd the situation had become. For a long moment neither of us spoke. Then she turned, muttering under her breath, and stormed off. I exhaled, finally, thinking maybe, just maybe, that was the end. It wasn't. That weekend I woke up to shouting outside. Nancy was back again with her son and half the neighborhood watching. She was waving a printed HOA letter in one hand and yelling, "This ends now. You're defying the community." I stepped outside, folder in hand, heart pounding but calm. "Nancy," I said loud enough for everyone to hear, "you've crossed the line. The district attorney has confirmed your actions are harassment. Keep going and you'll be facing legal consequences." She froze. The crowd murmured. Her son's face turned crimson, but still she doubled down, dialing her phone right there in front of everyone. "I'm calling the police." I nodded. "Go ahead. They're already aware of your behavior." When the patrol car pulled up a few minutes later, I could almost feel the tension crackle. The same officers stepped out, the same ones who'd been here the first time. Only now they weren't looking at me. They went straight to her. "Ma'am," one of them said firmly, "you've been warned about filing false reports. This is harassment. If it continues, we'll have to take action." You could see the panic rise behind her eyes. Her voice faltered. "But the car, it's not yours," the officer cut her off. The crowd stood silent. Someone actually clapped once before realizing it wasn't the time. Nancy's hands trembled. Her phone slipped a little. And just like that, the so-called queen of the HOA crumbled. She turned, muttering about ungrateful neighbors, and dragged her son down the street. He didn't say a word, just kept his head down, probably wishing the ground would open up and swallow him whole. When the patrol car left and the spectators scattered, I just leaned against the Firebird. The sunlight hit the hood, making it shine like a badge of victory. Not a loud one, not triumphant, but quiet and earned. I wasn't celebrating. I was just relieved. The kind of relief that comes when you finally stop being afraid. Nancy never came back after that. Word spread fast. Apparently the HOA board temporarily suspended her for overstepping authority. No apology, of course, but silence was enough. Standing there that day looking at my car, I realized something. Power only works when you let fear feed it. All I did was stay calm, stay prepared, and trust the truth to do its job. Sometimes that's all it takes to win patience proof and the courage not to bow down to arrogance.